who have created time to be here with us for this auspicious event. I would also like to commend the CPST leadership, the Symposium Planning Committee for organizing this event, which is timely because the recommendations from these deliberations and discussions will go a long way in enhancing the way that legislatures, parliament and the county legislatures work in engaging with citizens. I want to laud and commend all those brave people, authors and staffers, practitioners who will be making presentations during this symposium. We will be greatly honored to be beneficiaries of the in-depth research that you have made into this very important subject, which will no doubt enhance the capacity of legislatures to undertake impactful public participation. Ladies and gentlemen, public participation is a fundamental tenet of our democracy, and it is essential for promoting human dignity and the sovereignty of the people. It is a major pillar and vital requirement in the transaction of public affairs. It finds anchor in various provisions of the Constitution, including Article 1, 10, 35, 89, 118, 119, 124, 196, various chapters, various provisions of the Constitution. But I do not wish to tire you with a discourse myself on my thoughts about public participation. My role is to merely welcome you here. However, I would like to say how very pleased that we have this gathering of practitioners and others, and bookworms. So that gathering of practitioners and scholars and bookworms, I think, is going to be a very good one, because the one group talks from their lived experiences and the things they have to do. The other talks from what they have read and what they have researched and the comparisons they have made. And I think that it makes for a very useful gathering and a very good interaction. From where I sit as a practitioner, I am hoping that from this event I will be able to answer some very simple questions, very basic questions. The what is this public participation? What is it about? The when. When do we have to do this? Is it at all times? At what point? Who undertakes public participation? Who is the public? How is it undertaken? By whom is it undertaken? For how long? I am also an accounting officer, so I have this question: how much? How much does it cost? Whose bill is it? Whose bill is public participation? So on the eve of the 13th anniversary of the promulgation of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, it is fitting that we should be discussing these questions. It's also fitting that we are talking about effectiveness. That means that we have moved, we recognize that it's a settled pillar of the constitutional dispensation, and that we are now thinking in terms of the effectiveness of public participation. Effective public participation, big question for legislature. So it is settled that public participation is a cornerstone. It's going to be there, but now it has to be effective, answering certain questions. I want to leave you only by observing that some of those questions were answered in large measure. We owe a lot to the Supreme Court for answering some of those questions, and I'm sure the speakers will be speaking at depth, in depth to some of these questions that the Supreme Court answered about public participation in the landmark BBI case, talking about public participation being required in all aspects of governance, talking about entities that are required to perform a particular duty having that role of public participation, the lack of a framework not being an excuse, public participation being real, not cosmetic, quantitative and qualitative aspects of public participation, purposive and meaningful public participation rather than a mere illusion or an abstract notion, etc. So let me just say that for my part, I welcome you, and I'm very excited at this opportunity, and I want to play my little part in saving the time for those who have prepared papers to have the opportunity to present them and to have all of us interact with them. So I take this opportunity to urge all participants to actively engage, to contribute in these conversations over the next 2 days as we seek innovative, pragmatic ways to enhance the robustness of public participation processes and frameworks for enhanced citizen engagement with the overall goal of promoting and enhancing good governance and truly representative legislatures. Thank you very much. Wish you fruitful deliberations.
Let us give him a better round of applause, please. I'd like a secretary to the commission here to say how much does it cost. I don't know whether we'll be able to know how much in these 2 days, but it would be interesting to interrogate how much should it or does it cost to do public participation. I want to, at this moment, recognize several chairpersons of committees of the National Assembly who have joined us, and I'll request that Honorable Dr. Robert Bukose, chairperson of the Health Committee of the National Assembly, to come here and on behalf of the other chairpersons, give a few remarks and recognize your colleagues by name. Karibu sana, Mheshimiwa. Let's applaud him as he joins us. Karibu sana, Daktari.
Thank you, Professor, Majority Leader, Commissioners, Professor Kivuda Kibwana, our Clerk of the Senate, my colleagues, chairs, and all invited participants, good morning. Dr. Murungaru was supposed to speak on behalf of the chairs, and now this responsibility has fallen on me. I just want to ask the chairs who are here, please stand up for recognition. These are Chair Agriculture, then Chair National Cohesion, Chair Special Facilities and Services, then our Chair Transport, then is the Vice Chair representing the Chair Delegated. Most of us as chairs, I think this is a very important topic that we felt we need to understand, especially when it comes to matters of public participation. Because once the bills have been read the first time in the floor of the House, they are now submitted to the committees. And the committees are supposed to carry out public participation. All these chairs will guide their committees in doing public participation. And therefore, we are here to understand, because more often, you'll find that after a bill has gone through the normal process, people will go to court and challenge that there was no adequate public participation. So for us as chairs who are members of the Liaison Committee, we are here to understand what is the extent of that public participation. What is it that, what is it that we should be able to do adequate public participation? So I think this is a very important learning process, and I know that out of this, we'll be able to now understand very clearly how much is public participation. And in also that, more often you'll find that we get public participation in terms of written memorandums. We also go to places where, after advertising in the paper, that we'll be in this place to do public participation on this bill. Now, when people come to that place, who takes care of them? Because Kenyans have left their works, they have left their jobs which they are doing to come and make presentations in this public participation. At the end of the day, who takes care of their sitting allowance or even their transport to go back home? They have come here to participate in that. Is it just their responsibility that they just come, make those presentations and go? And we've also seen in committees, I think yesterday and now as we speak, the Public Finance Committee, the Finance Committee is having public hearings on the finance bill. We've seen people making presentations. Who takes care of those people? They have left their jobs, they have done a lot of research and come up with submissions. Who takes care of that submission? So I think, and Professor Kibwana here is one of those people who was instrumental in the 2010 Constitution. You provided for public participation. But how do we make it sure that this public participation is done and done well? With those few remarks, thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson of the Health Committee of the National Assembly. Allow me to recognize Dr. Gertrude Musuruve, Senator. The immediate former nominated senator is with us. Karibu sana, Dr. Musuruve. She's coming here representing Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. And I just want to mention here that through her initiative, Madam Chairperson of the CPSD board, we have reached a point where we'll be coming to the board with a proposal to get into some collaboration with JKUAT to run a master's program on leadership. So that is the initiative of Honorable Musuruve. Let's also clap for an applause for that. Honorable Chief Guest, Kimani Shongwa, I mentioned in the briefing room that we have a partner here called the Hans Siedel Foundation, represented by Mr. Robertson Kafusho and another colleague who will tell us who he's with. Through their partnership, they have actually kindly sponsored the participation of His Excellency Professor Kifudha Kibwana, and we want to thank them. They will speak on behalf, very briefly, on behalf of other partners who are joining us either here or virtually. Kafusho, karibu.
Thank you so much, Professor Nyokafi. So, Chief Guest, Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, the Leader of Majority in the National Assembly, the Chair of the CPST Board, Committee Chairpersons are present, Clerk of the Senate, our keynote speaker, Honorable Professor Kifudha Kibwana, all guests present from outside Kenya and from Kenya, as well as the paper presenters, and all protocols observed. Good morning. My name is Robertson Kafusho from the Hans Siedel Foundation. I am the head of programs for Kenya and Ethiopia. I am glad to be here, and thank you, Professor Nyokafi and CPST for the invitation and the opportunity to partner with you in this symposium. I'd like to also take the opportunity to acknowledge your team for putting together this particular symposium, which is of vital importance given the topic of the day. The Hans Siedel Foundation, briefly, is a German political foundation. Our work in Kenya, largely through local, state, and non-state partners, is in the areas of civic engagement, rule of law and good governance, political dialogues, peace and human security, and climate change adaptation. Being a political foundation means that we are associated with a political party, which is a Christian Social Union based in Bavaria in Germany. I was told to introduce my colleagues. I came with my two colleagues, Linda and Mary, over there, my two colleagues. So this particular symposium is being held at a period where, that is in looking at the context, where now more than ever, citizens and stakeholders are demanding systems of public policy and governance that can respond to the rapid changes. Increased pressure from an informed and active public to increase stakeholder engagement and improve open and transparent policy making becomes imperative. Why do we say informed and active public? It's because of the period where we are living in, where it is also described that it's owed to the sources of, owing to new sources of competition and redistribution and decentralization of power and information brought about by the new technologies. So what is at risk? What is at risk when we do not have a system of public participation that aligns to the needs of citizens is a situation where we have a system that falls out of sync with the people it intends to serve. And that is not what we want for Kenya at the national level and at the county level. So this increases the need for leaders to harness their collective intelligence. That is when a large and diverse group of people is collectively smarter than any individual. So harness the collective intelligence of their constituents, citizens, in the policy development and implementation. And a few sources have already been cited, for example, what is going on with the finance bill, public participation. I want to end with a quote from the Global Parliamentary Report of 2022, which says that one way to bring about transformative and cultural shift in public engagement by Parliament is to establish an innovation task force. By embracing innovation in their own processes and leading public debate about the future, parliaments have an opportunity to present themselves as forward-thinking and forward-looking institutions. And so, as an organization, as Heinz-Edel Foundation, one way we seek to support actors, mainly policymakers in this, is through a project we call Agile Governance, where we have also interacted with the Center for Parliamentary Studies and Training in holding an initial parliamentary roundtable. The project seeks to support policymakers in addressing the broad challenge of a less responsive government and policy-making architecture to rapidly evolving people-driven governance and policy environment. So we look forward to a fruitful engagement, and thank you for the opportunity on behalf of the other partners present. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Robertson Kafusho, for those remarks. And the Heinz-Edel Foundation has, we have done a few roundtables with them, and we hope, Chief Guest, Madam Chair of the board, commissioners, that when we bring this to the board, they can also become a formal partner of the CPST so that we can run some programs with them. At this juncture, I want to recognize also Professor Ambassador Maria Nzomo, a member of the CPST board, who is joining us virtually. She will continue joining us until tomorrow. She has a session that she's going to be chairing. At this juncture, allow me to invite the chairperson of the CPST board, Honorable Rachel Ameso, who will then take over from here to invite the chief guest, and then later on we'll have the keynote speaker before we go for a group photo. Before you come, Madam Chair, I recognize the presence of another board member, Commissioner RUTO Kenya. Asante sana, we recognize you. So we have several members of the CPST board present. I appreciate you and I thank you all for coming. Karibu sana, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Madam Edie, that's Executive Director, Professor Nyokabi. And I want to take this opportunity to welcome all of you for this event, our third symposium. Karibuni sana. Leader of Majority in National Assembly, Mheshimiwa Kimani Ichung'wah, the commissioners who are here present and members of the board, I'll be giving you an opportunity, one of you, just to come and present, represent the others who are not here, because we have quite a number of activities. So some will be joining us, and you'll be having them in other sessions. They'll be chairing various sessions. Honorable members who are here, both from the National Assembly and from the Senate, our chief guest, Professor Governor Kivuta Kibwana, the clerk of the Senate, who is also the Secretary of Parliamentary Service Commission, Mr. Jeremiah Nyegenye, our DG, who will be here at any time, he will be joining us. That is Clement Nandieri, DG Parliamentary Service Commission, Professor Nyokabi Kamau, our Executive Director, CPST, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Yeah, it is with this tremendous pleasure that I join you all for this important two-day event. Allow me to express my sincere appreciation to each one of you for making time out of your busy schedules to honor the invitation to be present here today. I also want to thank the Executive Director, Madam Nyokabi, and her team for organizing the 3rd Annual Parliamentary Symposia themed Effective Public Participation, the Big Question for Legislatures. Honorable members, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in Kenya, public participation is considered a crucial pillar of our Constitution. It promotes democracy by providing the citizenry with the opportunity to take part in decision-making processes. It is meant to ensure citizens are heard and are able to actively participate in decision and activities that impact their life and livelihood. When on that, I just want to bring to the attention of our guests here. The other day, we were with the leader of majority, and we had gone to Canada for a training, and we had about 10 other parliaments. So when the Kenyan team was we did our presentation, and we brought in the issue of public participation. And I can assure you that everybody was wondering how. That means that the Kenyan Parliament, we are much, much far ahead. And those are international, worldwide. Even the richest country was there. We had Australia, we had Canada, but they were so keen about this public participation. And Madam Professor Nyokabi, that will mean that we'll have to organize an international symposia that can bring other parliaments. I'm so grateful that we have the team here from Zimbabwe, because the next time we do an international symposia, I believe you shall come to join hands with us. As I continue, the Constitution under Article 1 affirms that sovereign power belongs to the people, while under Article 118, 1b, it requires Parliament to facilitate public participation. And the question was here, who is to take care of those who are participating? And this involvement in legislative and other business of Parliament and its committees. It is further provides that Parliament shall conduct its business in an open manner, and its sitting and of those its committees shall open to the public. In participation on our legislative processes, it's open to all members of the public, either individually or as organized groups. Good governance can then depend through interaction between Parliament and the public with an aim of making acceptable and better decisions. This involves informing and listening, dialogue, debate, and analysis, and implementation of agreed solutions. Indeed, the Constitution of Kenya provides that Parliament shall not bar anyone from participating in public affairs on any ground such as age, race, color, gender, or political affiliation. Further, Article 10, 2A, recognizes public participation as one of the national values and principles of governance, therefore. Honorable members, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the importance of public participation is also anchored in the National Assembly and Senate standing orders, which mandate the respective committees to which a bill is committed to facilitate public participation. Further, public participation is an essential in financial matters, especially the budget making process. And now, for those who are familiar, we have budget making process that is going on, and also we have the discussions that are going on regarding the finance bill, and that is all on public participation. The Public Finance Framework and Articles 201, 221, and 232 of the Constitution of Kenya requires that the public participation be integrated in the consideration of financial matters. In the recent past, we have seen members of the public make submissions and attend public hearings to give their views on financial matters. Currently, the contentious finance bill is under consideration and is expected to elicit significant reactions from members of the public. That indeed is the essence of our democracy in Kenya. Honorable members, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, there is evidence in media reports that the lack of public participation impeds the lawmaking process. We as the Parliament, we have experienced situations where we have been challenged in court, or the courts have nullified laws passed by Parliament for failing to conduct adequate Parliament participation. So here you can see how serious we are with public participation. To boost authority of the laws that we pass, Parliament should enhance public participation because the Constitution of Kenya cedes the sovereignty to the people of Kenya, and therefore the people's voice should be heard in all matters as concerns to governance. I notice the CPST has put together a very comprehensive program, that's why we are here, and the topics selected are well suited toward catalyzing discussions on best practices for equipping legislatures in their primary roles of legislation, representation, and oversight. I therefore urge all of us to follow the proceedings keenly and to seek for clarifications where necessary. I am confident that at the end of this workshop, we will not only be more enlightened, but we will fully comprehend and encompass public participation to deliver on Parliament's mandate. I urge the CPST to continue holding this discussion nationally, internationally, with the view to nurture a sustainable culture of public participation in Kenya. As I finish, honorable members, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, allow me to remind all of us that as members, we are auditors of government and guardians of all the public interest. It is my hope that at the end of this forum would have picked strategies of enhancing our engagement with the public. I look forward to engaging an interactive session throughout the symposia, and once again, thank you all and the parliamentary leadership present, specifically, this is Mr. Speaker. Kindly, Leader of Majority, let our Speaker, who is the Chairman, get to know this, that we really appreciate his leadership and for finding it fit to send you as Leader of Majority to come and represent our Speaker to attend this great event, which is our third symposia. Before I finish, I wish to now introduce the board members of CPST board, which is also, we look at it as one of the committees of Parliamentary Service Commission. It's only that it is a board. And I'll give an opportunity to one of the members just to come and say jambo. The rest, I'll introduce them. And before us, I'll start from my left. I have Commissioner John Nderitu Kinywa, who is the Senator of County of Laikipia. You'll be interacting with him during the sessions because most of the board members will be chairing various sessions in this 2 days event. I'll also want to introduce a Commissioner, Honorable Mishi Mboko, MP of Likoni, that is Mombasa, Likoni constituency in Mombasa. She's also a member of the board. I also have Commissioner, we call him Commissioner Chairman. He's a chair of other many, the Leader of Majority knows he's the chair. Leader of Majority is the chair, and I'll give Commissioner Johnston Modama an opportunity. Please come and speak on behalf of other members of the board and commissioners who are not here with us. And also, I want to appreciate Professor Maria Nzomo, who is, she's a visiting professor. She's currently in Poland. We want also to acknowledge that you are here with us online. So, karibu, Commissioner Johnston Modama. You speak on behalf of other commissioners who are not here with us. Karibu.
Thank you very much, Chairman or Chairperson of CPST. It is a great opportunity for me to have this chance to greet the invited guests and also recognize the representation of the Speaker through the Majority Leader, Mheshimiwa Kimani Ichung'wah, and also recognize our key speaker, Professor Kivuda Kibwana, who is a long-time great friend of mine. Recognize our senior clerk. I heard ED here, Professor Nyogabi, saying that he received a badge which he indicated is the deputy clerk, but he's one of the senior clerks in our parliamentary leadership. And also recognize the chair of CPST and all other guests who are here. I understand also we are joined by our good friends from our continent, and we say we also extend our welcome to you. On behalf of Parliamentary Service Commission, we have no much to say. Our position was to have speakers today to move us forward on the issues that needs to be understood by those who are in the leadership in Parliament. As has been said by the chair here, we traveled to Montreal, Canada, and we were many because also the majority leader was there. What came out, and I don't want to praise my country, but what came out there is that we were far away and more far away in comparison to other countries when it came to applying and practicing democracy. We realized that Kenya had made very, very many steps in achieving democracy, and it was being practiced. Since it's not our day, we also want to listen and learn what we are being